Hello and welcome to CFL Classics here on ESPN Classic Canada. I'm Chris Schultz. Today we'll head back to 1987 for a mid-season Battle of Alberta. The Calgary Stampeders hosted the Edmonton Eskimos in the September 7th game. Calgary had an absolutely horrible start to the 87 season, going 1-6 in their first 7 games. The Stamps needed to shake things up, so Larry Kuharich was brought in to take over the head coaching duties heading into this game. The Stamps had won 2 straight games to bring their record to 3-6. They would be facing a very tough opponent in the Eskimos, who were bringing in their 6-3 record into town. Starting quarterbacks, Matt Dunnigan was sidelined with an injury, so it's a young Damon Allen. He'd get the start for Edmonton. So let's head back now to Labor Day 1987 in this all-Alberta matchup here on ESPN Classic Canada. The first quarter is coming up next.
Greg, has there been renewed enthusiasm with Larry Kuharich taking over at head coach?
Yeah, there has. He's simplified things a bit, so as a defense, he's letting us fly around a bit. And, you know, anytime there's a new generation of life spurred into a team, it helps, and that's definitely helped us.
How about a quick thought on the very powerful Eskimo offense?
Well, what they do best is capitalize on teams' mental breakdowns or physical breakdowns. It seems like any time a team has a breakdown, they capitalize on it for a big gain or a touchdown. So what we have to do is keep our head in the game and just not have those breakdowns where they can capitalize, because they're the best in the league at doing that.
Have a good game.
Thank you.
And the Stampeders will need a big effort this afternoon. History is against them. Edmonton has beaten Calgary 9 straight times in the regular season. The Stamps and Eskimos coming up on CFN. The most prolific offense in the CFL is in Edmonton. On the offensive line, Joe Farragelli is staying with the same group. Bill Stevenson remains at left guard. Trevor Bowles at right tackle. Receiving cores in the CFL don't come much better than this quartet of Jones, Kelly, Sincar, and Richards. Matt Dunnigan almost ready to return at quarterback, but today it's Damon Allen with Skinner and Jones, the running backs. The Calgary defensive line has imports Goldsmith and Hallman, Canadians Beliveau and Laird. Laird has been moved outside. Veteran Bernie Morrison leads Calgary in tackles. He's the glue in their linebacking core. And in the secondary, McCrary, Hogue, Peterson, Hall, and Hopkins will have their work cut out. A big crowd is assembled at McMahon Stadium for this Labor Day game, in excess of 30,000. They hope maybe 33 or 34 to watch the 3-6 Stampeders against the 6-3 Edmonton Eskimos. J.T. Hay has the ball teed up at his 35, and the game is underway. Henry Williams at the Edmonton 16-yard line. And the Gizmo gets back to the 29, and that's all. The Stampeders will be happy to stop Gizmo with a return that short. A 14-yarder after a 60-yard kickoff by J.T. Hay.
Damon Allen coming off a great first half last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, hurt his knee. Talking to Joe Farragelli, the knee is 100%. He'll be backed up by Tracy Ham.
8 touchdowns and 11 interceptions thrown by Damon Allen, but that really doesn't tell a true indication of how he's played. They're very, very happy with the job he has done. First and 10 Eskimos at their 29. Allen, quick pass, man wide open, and the ball is dropped. Marco Sincar was wide open, a perfect throw by Allen, but he just dropped it. Gorgeous day in Calgary. 17 Celsius, very little wind, and the sun pouring down on McMahon Stadium. Is it a perfect day for football, Neil Lumsden?
I would say it's almost a perfect day. A perfect day would mean there'd have to be the real grass instead of the artificial turf.
Larry Kuharich will consider it a perfect day if his team can upset the Eskimos. 2nd and 10 Edmonton at the Eskimo 29-yard line. Allen with time in the pocket over the middle, and it's no good. Down around the center field area. Sincar once again the intended receiver, but the ball was well over his head. There is a flag on the play. And it's holding against the Edmonton Eskimos. Calgary will decline that and ask the Eskimos to punt, I am certain.
The Stampeders did a good job of keeping Damon Allen in the pocket. He is so effective if he can run and sprint out. The Calgary front four, Stu Laird, Eugene Beliveau, Harold Hallman, and Vince Goldsmith are going to come in from the outside and not give him any place to go.
Jerry Cowrick into punt. His seasonal average, not very good. It's the worst in the CFL. Joe Farragelli tells us if you take away the blocked kicks or the partially blocked ones, it's very respectable. He's happy with Cowrick. And he gets a good kickoff, his first of the game. Richie Hall at the Calgary 35. And he's up to the 50 and out of bounds at the 51 of the Calgary Stampeders. 17-yard return of a 46-yard Jerry Cowrick punt.
Richie Hall, the man who has the nickname of Pint because of his size, 5'6", 160 pounds. But he certainly is effective. He makes a nice little Duke move on the first man down the field and then takes it up the short side in front of the Eskimo bench.
Rick Johnson will lead the Calgary Stampeders out of their huddle for the first time in the game. Johnson's ratio of touchdowns and interceptions is horrible. But Coach Larry Kuharek feels that Johnson is almost all the way back to what he was last year. And he swings it out to Petros. And he's across center field to the Eskimo 52-yard line.
Well, we saw a new look in the Calgary offense right there. Emmanuel Tolbert lines up in a full house backfield. They can obviously run him out of motion as they did right there, or they can give him the football. And Kuharek said they just might hand him the football today.
Well, they've had lots of time to make changes, haven't they, Neil? They last played 18 days ago, the Stampeders. And on that day, they knocked off the BC Lions. 2nd and 4, Calgary, Edmonton 52-yard line. We're just underway at McMahon Stadium. Hand off Gary Allen. Allen has some room to the 45, and he's to the Edmonton 42 for a first down. Gary Allen said, I want to make a statement in this game.
Well, a statement, and the best way you can do it is doing what he does the best, and that's run and catch the football. He breaks through here nicely. A good lead block. Now he cuts back. A good block on Danny Bass to shove Bass inside. Bass almost gets a shot at him. Now a scary look for Junior Robinson. One-on-one. Does a nice job of a tackle.
Allen has sat out 2 games this season. Only 333 yards rushing compared to the 1153 he rolled up in that outstanding season last year. 1st and 10, Stamps at the Edmonton 42, and a flag is thrown. I believe Rick Johnson took too long. Ross Perrier informs us that it is a time count violation.
Talking about Gary Allen, when we asked Coach Kuharek, has Allen played as well this year? He said, well, he's been in a lot of tough football games. He doesn't think Allen has been getting the support from his offensive line. They weren't doing a good enough job. He thinks Gary Allen deserves a chance in the new system, as he called it.
Well, he says when Allen carries the ball 8 times and gets 10 yards, he says, you know, there's something wrong, and it's not Gary Allen. 1st and 15, Stampeders, Edmonton 47. This is Gary Allen, and he has room. And he's down to the Edmonton 20-yard line.
A play that took a little bit long to materialize. It looks like it's going to be a straight draw. But he takes a handoff underneath the quarterback. Now he goes outside. The key is, and we can't see it in the replay, there's a great cutoff block by Yilirenko on the inside, not allowing the flow to catch him. Another good block on Danny Bass. They're working hard downfield.
26-yard gain by Gary Allen. They mark the ball at the Edmonton 22-yard line. 1st and 10, Stampeders looking good in their first offensive possession. Rick Johnson throwing in the end zone. No good. Intended for Ron Wheeler, and he got a shot at it but couldn't make the catch.
It looks like Wheeler ran a post corner there. He's in one-on-one coverage with Ron Howard. But Rick Johnson backs out of there. It's like a backpedal. He gets back in the pocket. A lot of coaches across the CFL say as quick as anybody. And when he does that, that allows him to see what's going on in the secondary. Gives him a good look, and then he can make the decision.
Kuharek said the one area where Johnson still hasn't come all the way back to what he was last year is in his release of the football. He's still a split second away.
And that comes through repetition in practice.
2nd and 10, Stampeders, Edmonton 22-yard line. Johnson with time, throws, no good. Intended for Tim Petros, swinging out of the backfield, but Johnson led him just a little bit too much. And we'll see J.T. Hay in the Calgary field goal team.
Well, in that situation, it's better to lead the receiver than throw it behind because Larry Ruck was in hot pursuit.
J.T. Hay will attempt to open the scoring in this Labor Day matchup between the Eskimos and Stampeders at McMahon Stadium. Edmonton has beaten the Stamps 9 straight times in the regular season, including 42-19 here last year on Labor Day. J.T. Hay's field goal try is right through there, and with 10:52 to go in the opening quarter, the Stampeders have opened the scoring. at McMahon Stadium in Calgary late in the first quarter. 3-0 Stampeders over the Eskimos. We'd like to welcome viewers on 2 new CFN stations, STV Regina, STV Saskatoon. Just went on the air last night. This is 3rd down and 2. Stampeders. Johnson throws, and it's complete to the 31-yard line. Emmanuel Tolbert with the catch. So the Stampeders gambled on 3rd and 7, got an Edmonton offside. They pass on 3rd and 1.5. This is wild stuff, Theo.
Well, the only thing you can say is this is real gutsy football. Good play action into Petros. Defense thinking they'd run the football, and Johnson just drops it inside to Tolbert.
41-year-old Larry Kuharich.
You want to talk about going after it. He's going after it.
1st and 10 Stamps. Edmonton 31. Gary Allen to the 25, breaks a tackle and into the Edmonton 21, or close to it, and close to a Calgary 1st down. You could say that the Stampeders are ready today, couldn't you? They're looking very good in this opening quarter.
Well, they certainly have, and the nice thing about what the Stampeders are doing here is they've controlled the football. A couple of gutsy calls, the 3rd and 7, they get the break and the penalty, and then the 3rd one, they throw the football, but they've controlled it. They've mixed the run and the pass nicely.
Gary Allen enjoying a big game, and it's not quite 12 minutes old. Stamps in front, 3-0. They're 2nd and a yard. Allen with the ball across the 20 into the Edmonton 17 or 18. He has a 3 or 4 yard gain and easily has a Calgary 1st down.
Well, it's going to be tough going for him inside there. He makes a nice move, a pile up very quickly, like it was a stalemate between the interior of the line there. A good job by John Mandrich and James Zachary. Then he just slides by and then's hit by Danny Bass after he gets the 1st down.
It's very impressive Stampeder drive. Started at their 17, and the Edmonton defensive unit has been on the field for a long time in this first quarter. 1st and 10 Stamps. Petros on the fake toss, and he's across the 15 into about the 13 or 14 of Edmonton for a gain of, well, close to 5 yards. Columbus, Mandarich, Zachary, and Stu Hill, the starting front four for Edmonton. Ruck, Bass, and Warren. The linebackers, Howard, Thurman, Robinson, Wilson, and Blair in the secondary. Petros had a career game against BC the last time Calgary played.
Well, after Petros showed the Calgary fans and the Calgary coaches what he can do when he gets a chance to run with the football, they're going to use him more in the offense.
2nd down and 5. Stampeders. Eskimo 13-yard line. Johnson faking. He'll throw as a man wide open. Petros to the 5-yard line into the 4. Calgary 1st down. And the big crowd at McMahon eating up what they're seeing so far.
Well, this play's very well set up. Petros comes over, blocks Stu Hill, and then lets him go as if Stuart Hill's beating him. Slides around right behind him. You can see him there. Now he's got open field. And again, run down by Larry Ruck. Larry Ruck's all over the field. Stuart Hill sees pressure. He takes the block on, releases to the outside, so Johnson doesn't get a chance to go to his outside and takes him down.
1st and goal, Stampeders. Handoff, Gary Allen. And he gets to the 2 and then is hurled back. They may mark him closer to the 1. We'll wait and see. Danny Bass, Gary Columbus, and Thurman, the defensive back, is playing his first game with the Eskimos, all in on the tackle.
I don't think there's any question the people and the fans in the city of Calgary are fired up about their football team again.
2nd and goal. Stampeders. The ball is at the 1. Gary Allen got it to the 1-yard line. 3-0 Calgary. Gary Allen carrying, and he did not get there. There are flags down. Ross Perrier, the head referee.
Offside. Edmonton number 20.
Don Wilson, a defensive back for the Eskimos, was offside on the play. That'll give the Stampeders a 1st down, and they'll have 3 cracks from the 1.
It's tough sledding down in there when it gets close to the goal line. Don Wilson and a couple of other defensive backs had snugged up to the line of scrimmage, expecting the run. He just snugged up a little bit too close.
I think maybe Kuharich called a pass now on this play.
Nothing surprises me.
1st and goal. Stampeders. Now Rick Johnson keeps. And there's no signal yet. Well, he didn't get across. Well, the Eskimos are playing it tough down near their goal line.
Well, you've got to come off the football and push the defensive line back. And the front four of the Eskimos are winning that battle right here. You see Larry Ruck pinching from the outside. They're just flying up to the football.
.11 seconds left in the opening quarter. The Calgary Stampeders, Tim Petros has just scored to put the Stamps in front 10-0. The kickoff to Gizmo Williams at the 30 to the 35, and he stopped at the 40-yard line of Edmonton with 7 seconds left. Neil Lumsden, that touchdown drive, 18 plays, 18 plays.
And almost 9 minutes off the clock, ended with this plunge by Petros to give the Stamps a 10-0 lead. I mean, the best way to defend a good offense like the Eskimos is keep them off the field, and that's exactly what they did.
Tim Petros catching a little oxygen at the bench. As we have a delay with an injured Edmonton player. The time that drive used up was in the neighborhood of 8 minutes. Mike McLean, the injured Eskimo. Boy, that's impressive. And they gambled on 3rd and 7. I'm still having a hard time with that, but it worked.
Mike McLean, an important part of the special teams for the Eskimos, is a backup linebacker. His responsibility is to come down and peel off and block somebody. And he gets caught right there to the left side of your screen, folded down from behind, gets that leg or ankle caught in the turf.
24-year-old Mike McLean from the University of Alberta. He was a 9th-round draft choice in 1985 of the Eskimos. 25 now.
Receiving instructions from athletic therapist Ken Lowe. Yeah, you like to see them get up and being able to walk off.
Yeah, that looks good for McLean. You always worry about a break when you see a guy get twisted like that or have his leg turned around underneath him, but it looks like McLean should be okay. Rick Johnson's been okay so far.
Okay, and fired up. He was ready to go last night. He's very involved in the telethon that went on in the city. Muscular dystrophy, saw him at the hotel. Says, we're ready to go.
Eskimos trailing 10-0. 1st and 10 at their 40-yard line. It's the 3rd time they've had the ball in this opening quarter. Damon Allen drops back to pass, throws it over the middle, wide open Milson Jones, and he's brought down at the 48-yard line. On a good tackle, he will have a gain of about 8 yards. 15 minutes complete at McMahon Stadium. The Stampeders in front, 10-0.
Heading into this game, the Eskimos had won 9 straight regular season games against their provincial rivals. And as we could see from this first quarter, the Stamps did not want to see that streak reach double digits. So thanks to a 29-yard field goal by J.T. Hay and a touchdown by Tim Petros, the Stamps had a 10-0 lead heading into the second quarter. Calgary thought they should have had a pass interference call go their way, but it didn't affect their composure, and it ended up they successfully gambled on 3rd down. Let's see if that determination would carry into the next quarter as the Calgary Stampeders would try to finally get the best of the Eskimos. Second quarter action is coming up here on ESPN Classic Canada.
Second quarter begins with Edmonton 2nd down and 1 at their 49-yard line. Damon Allen to Milson Jones. He gets across the 50 to the 51. That'll be a 1st down, and it's the first of the game for the Edmonton Eskimos.
The Calgary Stampeders had the ball twice in the first quarter. Kicked a field goal the first time and then just chewed up 9 minutes of the clock on the second drive. As you said, totaling 93 yards, 18 plays. I mean, that's incredible. They had the ball twice, only twice.
And they kept it for over half a quarter on one of those possessions. First down of the game for the Edmonton Eskimos. Calgary has 9 of them. Larry Kuharek, the head coach of the Stampeders, head coach and the man in charge of football operations. Vern Siemens is doing the managerial duties from a business point of view, but Kuharek is in charge, Neil, of the football operation and will continue to be next season.
And I think he wants to be, as we take a look at Bruce Green shaken up on the play. But he also says when it comes down and close to game time, 3 or 4 days before, he wants to put all the business aside and just get on the field and work with the football team. Communication in the office is going to be the important thing for the Stampeders. He said things are in a little bit of a turmoil because of the shakeup still, but they're slowly coordinating what's going on.
Bruce Green, the former Edmonton Eskimo, appears to be all right. He'll leave for at least one play, as the Eskimos will try to cut into this 10-0 deficit early in the second quarter. Damon Allen brings them out. 1st and 10 from there. 51. Allen with pressure throws nowhere near Brian Kelly, the intended receiver, as Damon Allen is being chased by Holman, Goldsmith, and Matt Finley.
Well, when I asked Kuharek about what his defensive plan was going to be, the first word he said to me was, "We're going to swarm. We're going to come all over them." Exactly the same way we did on defense against the BC Lions.
Kuharek's philosophy is that the key in football today is protect the quarterback and get to the quarterback. He said it's just about that simple in the CFL. 2nd and 10 Eskimos at their 51. Allen over the middle, and Rick House diving makes the catch at the 42-yard line of the Calgary Stampeders. That'll be a gain of 17 yards.
Rick House back in the lineup after having some shoulder problems earlier on in the season. Does what he does the best, goes downfield and finds a seam. The Eskimos and Damon Allen are sprinting to the right side. House goes down the field against his own defense and then comes back. You'll just see him in the picture there, open up just right between the linebackers.
1st and 10 Eskimos, Stampeder 42-yard line. Damon Allen, lots of time, throws, and it's complete to the 20-yard line. Stephon Jones inside of the Calgary 19. Well, the Eskimos, who have the most productive offense in the CFL, averaging 428 yards per game, are finally on the move offensively.
Well, the Eskimos have a tremendous combination of receivers. Brian Kelly with good speed and moves, and Stephon Jones with very threatening speed. He comes down inside and makes the catch. But the key here is the protection for Damon Allen. If they give him time to throw the ball, he will find receivers.
Bruce Green back in the game at linebacker for Calgary. Eskimos 1st and 10, Stampeder 18. Allen gets away to the 15. He somehow escaped the pressure and now is brought down back at the 17-yard line by David McCrary. But Allen looked to be wrapped up in the backfield and somehow slipped out of there.
Quarterbacks have that sixth sense. They know when somebody's up behind them. At least most of them do, and there's a good example of Damon Allen. He's getting good pocket protection once again. He's just stepping up, and sure enough, he just feels somebody on his back. Lamont Jeffers. Now he slides out. Brian Kelly wants to throw a block here on McCrary, but holds back because it would have been clipping.
Allen was actually across the 15, but he took himself back to the 16. It'll be 2nd down and 8 Eskimos at the Stampeder 16-yard line. Straight in the pocket is Allen. He has pressure. Damon Allen scrambling around. He won't get it away. Sacked back at the 24-yard line by Harold Holman.
There's that constant pressure. If you keep the quarterback in an area and then you close down inside, the pressure, one-man pressure, will make him move out, and then the sack will occur after that, and that's what happens. There's just no place for him to go. The protection's good there, but the defensive backs are doing a good job in coverage, and Damon Allen has to try to buy time.
Jerry Cowrick will try to give the Eskimos their first points of the game. He will attempt a 30-yard field goal on 3rd down and 14. Damon Allen, the holder. Good placement. And it's right through there. So we are 3.5 minutes into the second quarter, and Edmonton has finally scored, but still trailed by 7. Labor Day Monday on CFN. It's Calgary 10, Edmonton 3. 11 minutes, 32 seconds left in the second quarter. Edmonton had just scored on a Jerry Cowrick field goal from 30 yards out, and Cowrick will kick off. Ron Hopkins and Andy McVeigh deep, and it's Hopkins at the 8. And he spins out to the 28-yard line. Good coverage by the Eskimos. 20-yard return.
Jerry Cowrick, the Eskimo punter and place kicker, doesn't like a lot of bulk on his shoulders when he kicks. In their last game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, he wore a pair of hockey shoulder pads. Nothing too exciting about them. Today he's wearing another set of hockey shoulder pads with a little bit more padding, sort of new wave. And this is the normal shoulder pad that a kicker or some quarterbacks prefer to wear. Boy, if he ever takes a shot on those hockey shoulder pads, I'd hate to look at his shoulders.
He'll feel it. First down run for the Stampeders from their 29-yard line will get them 2 or 3 yards. Gary Allen carrying. Allen had a big opening quarter. Cowrick and Spivey, the big import tackle, is in the game with the normal shoulder pads.
I would say abnormal. There'll be even more padding underneath those to protect the shoulders because of all the contact the offensive and the defensive linemen take in the front of the head and the top of the shoulders.
Lee Spivey, 6'2", 290. First game in the CFL. Second down and 7. Stampeders. Johnson throws, has a man open, and has a first down to Larry Willis up at the 44-yard line.
Larry Willis just runs your basic out pattern. The difference between this out pattern now and the way it was earlier on in the season is the ball is right there on the money. As soon as he breaks out, the ball's right there for Willis on the sidelines.
Lee Spivey playing left tackle for Southern Methodist University, and that'll move Rob Smith to right tackle and take Kerry Yelarenko out of the game as the Stamps shuffle their offensive line a bit. First and 10, Calgary at its 44. Handoff Gary Allen. 4-yard gain through the middle before he's hurled back by Dan Kearns. Kuharek told us, Neil, that his #1 priority, or maybe #2, it was close to the top when he took over, was to make the offensive line better, be that through personnel changes or the players there playing better, but he felt their offensive line wasn't very good.
Well, they weren't giving the protection to their quarterbacks, and they weren't opening the holes for the running backs.
Second and 6, Stamps at their 48. Very little wind here at McMahon Stadium. It's not a factor at all. Here's a blitz. Johnson gets away from it and gets the ball away to Wheeler. He's to the 50, the 45, and into the 40-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. And credit that gain to Rick Johnson being able to avoid the blitz.
Newcomer Mike Thurman for the Eskimos playing the right halfback spot. Blitzes from the short side of the field. He takes an inside path, which allows Johnson to get back outside. Now the key here is on the sidelines. Wheeler has set up, but comes back towards Johnson, gives him a place to throw the ball.
That's a mistake by Thurman, isn't it? I mean, he should never allow Johnson to slip out like that, should he?
Well, it's tough. He's coming in a blitz situation. He's full speed.
Necessary roughness. Edmonton #47.
And Larry Ruck gets a penalty for unnecessary roughness. As I was saying, Thurman is coming full speed. He wants to make the quarterback throw the ball early or come up with a sack. When you're going full speed, it's tough to change direction.
That rough play penalty against Larry Ruck moves the football to the Edmonton 25-yard line. Joe Faragelli, the coach of the Eskimos. This is his 8th game as head coach since taking over from Jackie Parker. Can't be liking what he's seeing as Calgary leads 10-3. 9 minutes left, second quarter. Stamps first and 10, Edmonton 25. Johnson in the end zone, and it's almost intercepted. Junior Robinson, the only man to have a shot at that football. And I don't know where the Calgary receivers were. Neither does Rick Johnson.
Well, I think Willis was trying to run a post corner, go inside the secondary and then break back out. But the secondary did a good job of closing in on him. Johnson's throwing the ball where he wants Willis to be. Willis, as you see on the ground, never got an opportunity to go all the way through his pattern.
Gary Allen comes in to replace Andy McVeigh. Second down and 10. Stampeders at the Edmonton 25-yard line. Christensen and Tolbert wide right. Willis splits left. And Johnson drops in the pocket. And he's looking for Willis, but he can't quite get it in the Edmonton end zone. Willis had a half a step on Ron Howard, but the pass just slightly overthrown.
Stampeders and Rick Johnson are looking for an interference call. There was some close coverage put on Willis by Ron Howard. The ball was thrown over the shoulder. Howard goes to the ground, but I don't think he slowed Willis down. I don't think he would have had a chance to catch it.
J.T. Hay in the Stampeder field goal unit will come on then on 3rd and 10 from the Edmonton 25. Hay will attempt this one from the 32-yard line. He kicked one earlier from the 29. And it's right through there. J.T. Hay makes it 13-3 Calgary with 8:19 left in the first half. Calgary safety Greg Peterson has just made his first interception of the season, giving the Stampeders the football at their 50-yard line.
Peterson's playing center field, but the key here is pressure on the quarterback and sacrifice those elbows on the turf. Good interception by Peterson.
Penalty against the Stampeders on the return, moved it back 10 yards. 1st and 10 at their 50. Kent Warnock was one of the men who pressured Damon Allen, and this play is whistled dead before it gets underway. But Warnock, the first player chosen in the draft last year, is playing his first regular season game as a Stampeder, and he was in on that turnover. Well, Ross Perrier whistled that play dead, but there's no penalty signaled, so they'll just
start over.
Go back to square one.
Sure.
1st and 10. Calgary Stampeders at their 50-yard line. 6:50 remaining. First half. 13-3 Calgary. Big crowd at McMahon Stadium to watch it. Johnson on a bootleg. He's going to run the ball. Has some room to the 50, and he's into the 45-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. They'll mark him out back up at the 49 of Edmonton. Johnson running for the first down.
The bootleg. Fake the handoff to the running backs and put it on your hip and keep going. And Danny Kearns is fooled for a second. He steps down with the play and then turns and runs with Johnson. John just kicks those heels up a little bit to get in front of that first down marker.
Well, the Stampeders should have lots of energy. They haven't played for a long time. 18 days ago, August 20th, they beat BC, and then it was 11 days before that, their last game, on the 9th of August, when they rallied for that win in Ottawa. Right now, they're 1st and 10 at the Edmonton 48-yard line. Handoff. Petros has a hole in the middle, gets to the 45 for a gain of 3 or 4.
Tim Petros wrapped up by Larry Rock and Stu Hill after a game of 3 for the 4-5.
So that's 3 games in a span of 28 days for Calgary. Of course, earlier in the year, they played 3 in a span of 11 or 12 days.
But the way things have been going for the players, I don't know if it had mattered whether it was 8 days or 18 days. It's the enthusiasm that has been injected back into this football club. That's why they're playing like this.
2nd and 7 at the Edmonton 45 for Calgary. Gary Allen comes in motion. Johnson dumps it off to Petros, and does he have room? To the 21-yard line, he fumbles the ball, and Calgary got it back. Jay Christensen recovered. The Stampeders are playing well and are getting the bounces.
Joe Faragelli has to be concerned watching this Calgary offense move down the field. Coaches will tell you, always follow up the play. If you can't make a block, something else good might happen. And Tim Petros sets this up perfectly, waits just a second and lets his offensive line get in front of him, and then just a great hit's put on him right where the ball is. The ball pops loose, but Christensen's on it.
That's a 28-yard gain. 13 first downs for Calgary. Johnson throws, no good, intended for Willis. This one goes out of bounds around the 5-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Have to be impressed, Neil, with Calgary's offensive game plan.
Well, maybe it all comes down to what Koharek said to us before the game, that if you've got the offensive line, you can do so many more things. Your running game now starts to work. If your running game works, you can go to play action and then pass the football. So I think the big difference we've seen so far is the improvement along the offensive line.
2nd and 10, Stampeders at the 18 of Edmonton. Gary Allen comes in motion. Handoff to Andy McVeigh, and he's grabbed by Kearns after a gain of 1 or 2 yards.
Danny Kearns and Danny Bass close the play down. There's absolutely no room for McVeigh to move. I think Calgary was hoping to get some motion going to the left, trying to get the Eskimo defense to take that one step. You can take one step, you can set up a block for the offensive lineman, but defense read it very well.
Ball at the Edmonton 17. It's 3rd down and 9. J.T. Hay will attempt to go to 3 for 3. 24-yard try by J.T. Hay. It's up and it's through there. So the Stampeders go in front by 16-3 with 4:09 left in the first half.
4:09 remaining, second quarter. The Stamp 16.
And the Stampeder fans on this sunny Labor Day,
They must be playing their song.
are dancing to the music that the Stampeders are playing. J.T. Hay 3 for 3 in the field goal department.
Well, now Calgary would like nothing better than to kick the ball deep, make the Eskimos start in their own end, and probably try to kick it away from the Gizmo Williams.
J.T. Hay hits the ball, and it's going to go to Gizmo whether he wants it or not at the 25. And he's stopped at the 40-yard line. Bernie Morrison and Bruce Green among the Calgary tacklers.
The Kickers decided to use the final 15 minutes of the first half to make their impact on the game. Jerry Kuharek and J.T. Hay each put points on the board, and scoring started to pick up in this one. In fact, there was so much action in those 15 minutes of football that we're unable to fit it all in. The last you saw, the Stampeders were leading in this game 16-3. But as we start the third quarter, you'll see how the Eskimos have managed to climb their way back to within 3 points. It's 16-13 for the Calgary Stampeders as we get set for the second half of this 1987 game. It's coming up here on ESPN Classic Canada.
Well, it was a beautiful sunny day when this game began. It's still very nice, but some clouds have moved in here over McMahon Stadium. 17 degrees Celsius when the game began, and very little wind, not a factor at all.
Not right now. And I don't think, I was going to say before the game started, as many times as I've been in this stadium, this is the first time where the flags on the top of the goalpost have been dropping straight down.
Now, I would imagine that Joe Farragelli, Neil, simply, if he said anything to his team, said, let's play better in the second half. What do you think Larry Kuharek would have done at halftime?
Well, you're right. Farragelli probably said we have to play better. It's the little things. It's the execution. Maybe picking up that one linebacker that wasn't picked up in the first half that forced Damon Allen out of the pocket. But I'm not sure what Kuharek would say. I think he has to tell their team that they've got to continue to put pressure on the quarterback. We've said that a number of times, but that's the key.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos with a 6-3 record, in Calgary at 3-6. Set to begin the second half at McMahon Stadium. The record crowd at McMahon is just over 34,000. We don't have an attendance yet. I don't think they'll break that, but they expected to do 32 or 33.
We talked about what Calgary might have to do on the offensive side of the football. I think we might see Rick Johnson sprint out a bit more in the second half.
Cowarik's kickoff. Hopkins at the 15-yard line. Ron Hopkins all the way back to the Calgary 53.
It's a great way to open the half, give your offense good field position, and that looked, after Hopkins caught the ball, that he might have some room.
38-yard kick return by Ron Hopkins, setting Rick Johnson and the Calgary offensive team in good field position to begin the second half. Tolbert and Willis split wide left. Christensen to the right. Ron Wheeler lines up as a tight end on the right. Johnson wants a quick pass, can't see it, has to scramble around and then just throws it away. Christensen was down that sideline, but he was heading upfield. Johnson does a good job to prevent the loss with Brian Warren after him.
Well, you're right, he was good, looking to throw a very quick pass. The offensive line comes off the football, and they're trying to get the hands of the defensive lineman down quickly. 2 steps, I'm going to look. Nothing's open, so now he's got to try to buy some time and get a receiver open downfield. Good response by the defensive line of the Eskimos, back on their feet, pursuing the quarterback.
Johnson and the Stamp, 2nd and 10 at the Calgary 53-yard line. And Johnson goes long for Emmanuel Tolbert, and flags come down as Stanley Blair grabbed Tolbert on the play at the 41 or 42 of Edmonton. Blair was beaten, and rather than possibly surrender a touchdown,
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 5. First down.
rather than possibly surrender a touchdown, he made a wise play.
Well, the Stamps have been pointing their fingers at Stanley Blair all day. He's been very close on a number of situations. He gets his hands out in one-on-one coverage, but this time I don't even think it was that close. Tolbert's on the ground. It was a takedown.
Calgary, as you say, Neil, has wanted an interference call against Stanley Blair 3 or 4 times. They finally get one, as the Eskimos have taken what they would consider more than their fair share of the penalties. Johnson going long again, and this time Tolbert stopped around the Edmonton 25-yard line with Blair on him. Johnson anticipating that he was going to go straight downfield, and it was way over everybody's head.
Emmanuel Tolbert's getting caught inside. He's trying to turn Stanley Blair around, give him a move to the inside, and then slide back out towards the sidelines. Stanley Blair is just doing an excellent job of keeping Emmanuel Tolbert in front of him and not letting him release into the pattern.
A minute and a half into the second half. 16-13, Calgary leading Edmonton. Stampeders 2nd and 10 at the Edmonton 40-yard line. Draw play, Gary Allen, and he'll get 4. Fumbles the ball, but they ruled that he was down at the 37 of Edmonton, so it'll be a gain of 3 for Gary Allen, and will set J.T. Hay up for a 44-yard field goal try.
On the last 2 plays, the Eskimos have blitzed middle linebacker Danny Bass. Thinking that the pressure would continue to come, they try to draw, but the Eskimos closed down the gaps. There was no place for Allen to run.
J.T. Hayes had a perfect day, 3 for 3. Trying to make it 4 for 4. This will be his longest effort of the afternoon. Glenn Harper, who can throw the football and throw it pretty well, will set it down at the 44. Hay hits it very well and right through there. J.T. Hayes adds 3 points to the Calgary tally, and they are now up 19-13, just over 2 minutes into the third quarter. Well, 9 days ago, a scary incident in a game between Ottawa and Hamilton. Steve Harrison, linebacker for the Ottawa Rough Riders, suffered a neck injury, and he was on the field for about 15 minutes, taken by ambulance to the hospital, and he's on the telephone with us now. The news is good, we understand. Steve, welcome to our telecast. How are you feeling?
Oh, good afternoon. I'm feeling pretty good.
Tell us about the incident. What are your recollections of it?
Oh, I was part of the wedge on the kickoff return, and I turned upfield, and we were trying to get a good one, and a body appeared in front of me, and I threw myself at it, and I guess I used the wrong part of my body, and down I went with a sore neck.
What thoughts went through your mind, Steve?
God, I hope I get up. I hope my wife's all right. She's going to be worried. And then I looked at my feet, and they were moving, and I felt a kind of a wave of relief go over me.
Steve, it's interesting that when you go down, sometimes it's the innocent hits that hurt the most.
That's it. You know, something you're just not aware of until it's all over, and then you got to look back and say, geez, how did I do that? And I've got to try and prevent that again from happening again. But at the same time, you still got to make your block.
Steve, have to ask you how you feeling now, and how long will it be till you're back in the lineup?
I'm feeling pretty good. I've been a little sore, but it's coming around. I'm just starting to get the mobility back, get some strength back in it, and it looks between 4 and 6 weeks before I'll be able to play again.
Well, Steve, thank you for joining us, and we wish you well in your recovery. And I know fans across the country are pleased to see that you're going to be fine.
Well, thank you very much. There have been a tremendous amount of inquiries about me, and I feel very good about that. Thank you very much for everybody and your concern. And this is going to be a heck of a phone bill on your part.
No problem. Steve, thanks a lot.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve Harrison of the Ottawa Rough Riders. And it'll be a while, as Steve said, 4 to 6 weeks, but he will come back and play, and we're happy to be able to tell you that. Rick Johnson faking on 1st and 20 after a penalty to the Stampeders. Throws, no good. There's a flag on the play. The pass intended for Tolbert. Don Wilson was right there, and interference is going to be called, I believe, against Don Wilson. While we were chatting with Steve Harrison, a nice run by Tim Petros for a Calgary first down.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 20, first down.
Well, that was a close one. You'll see Larry Ruck come blitz in the middle. He'll be picked up by Gary Allen and then just pushed aside. Ruck continues his pursuit. Johnson runs out of time and releases the ball, but Tolbert had to come back a bit. The momentum of Wilson, they just run into each other, and that's interference.
Stampeders benefit with that call with a first down at their 42-yard line, 1st and 10. Just over 5 minutes into the third quarter. Calgary leading 19-13. Johnson with all night throws. There's a flag down. Petros has the ball in a short gain before Wilson tackles him, but there is a flag.
Calgary number 54.
And it's holding against Rob Smith.
It's certainly good to hear that Harrison's coming along so well. They'll miss him in the Ottawa lineup. Linebacker, gotta feel good about them when they can go down, and you know the concern. Everyone sits back in their chair and hopes for the best, and he'll bounce back. Those fullback linebacker types always do.
Oh, they're tough, aren't they?
They are tough.
Never any doubt. First down and 20 yards to go for the Stampeders at their 32-yard line after the holding penalty. Christensen wide right. Willis and Tolbert left, and Rick Johnson in the pocket with pressure. Steps away from one man. Johnson won't get away from the rest, though. He's sacked back at the 25. He'll fight ahead to the 26 or 27-yard line. Gary Columbus leading the Edmonton attackers.
Columbus replacing Tune at the end. It's been getting better and better, and it's the good pursuit. They flush him out of the pocket, and it's done by Columbus. He gets back on his feet and chases down Johnson and finally gets the sack. He was with the Minnesota Vikings last year. Is considered undersized at 6'1", only weighs 275 pounds.
Considered undersized by height standards, but he's a load at 275 on a 6'1" frame. Second down, Stampeders, and a long way to go, about 22, 23 yards from their 27-yard line. 8.5 minutes left, third quarter. Stamps ahead by 6. Johnson with more pressure, gets away and gets the ball off, complete to Willis at the 34. And Willis turns it into a good gain up to the 46, but he's still 6 yards short of a Calgary first down.
Well, Rick Johnson starting to feel the heat from the Eskimos. He gets flushed out of the pocket early. There's good pressure coming. The Eskimo defense showing good balance. They're being knocked off, but they continue pressure, and he just finds Willis down the field. And you see Kerry Elarenko come down and make a good block downfield. Puts a man on his back. Good hustle by an offensive lineman to get downfield.
And good effort by Rick Johnson to save a big loss and get the football away. Danny Bass is shaken up, and we'll have a delay in the punt by Harper as they attend to Danny Bass. That'll give the mascots a chance to do their thing. Danny Bass being attended to by the Edmonton medical staff. The Edmonton Eskimos made big news this week, Naylor, this past week, when they announced, Hugh Campbell, their general manager, announced that all the players were going to take across-the-board 10% pay cuts. The Eskimos, economically, looking at some problems with their attendance down slightly. You, of course, live in Edmonton. You know a lot of the players, talk to them. What's the reaction been?
I think they're all a little bit disappointed. You never like to give up any of your salary, but I think they all understand the situation and realize that this move could prevent a very serious move down the road. They reacted and responded properly. And then I think they want to get rid of it. Like, let's put it aside. We've got a big football game to play later on in the week. They don't need something like that hanging over their shoulders.
Of course, all teams in the CFL are trying to remove the financial situation that they're in as the focus and let everybody talk about football. And there's been too much of that as far as the teams are concerned. That they've got to get themselves together financially so that that's not the topic of conversation all the time. And that's exactly what Edmonton is trying to do. Winnipeg has led the way in many regards this year. So has Saskatchewan, as the CFL attempts to remove that as a point of conversation. And they're the only ones that can do it. Third down and 6. Stampeders at their 46 as Danny Bass leads the field, and Glenn Harper hits a horrible punt. It'll bounce. He gets a good bounce out of it. Gizmo at the 14. Henry Williams tripped up initially, gets away. He's to the 20 and moves laterally up to the 26-yard line. Boy, he can do some things. 7:54 left in the third quarter. 6 minutes left in the third quarter at McMahon Stadium. Stampeders have a field goal in this third quarter, and that's all the scoring there's been.
The report on All-Star Danny Bass is he has a sprained knee. He will not return this afternoon.
That'll hurt Edmonton's defense, obviously, and we'll see how they do without Mr. Bass. Here's a handoff on first down from the Calgary 30. Gary Allen will have an advancement of 5 or 6 yards across the 35-yard line.
Mike Palumbo, who hurt his knee in the last game against the BC Lions, has re-injured that knee, and he also is out for the rest of this afternoon. And Gizmo's knees are fine.
Yeah, he's done okay today. Henry Williams, a 63-yard punt return for a touchdown, his third of the season. That ties the CFL single-season record for punt return touchdowns. 2nd and 4, Stamps handoff. Petros grabbed in the backfield by Zachary. Good defensive play by Zachary to deny Calgary a first down, force the Stampeders to punt.
What a great play by Zachary. He reads. The guard pulls. Tom Spolatini. Zachary follows the guard, chases down Tim Petros. Good play.
The Danny Bass injury, by the way, brings Frank Balkovec into the game, and he will see full-time duty at linebacker in place of Bass. 3rd down and 5. Stampeders at their 35. Henry Williams, the lone man back for the Eskimos, who set up a return. Harper, good kick. And Gizmo's going to have lots of time to set up on this one. But the Stampeders do a good job of closing off his alleys and tackle him at the 20, a 5-yard return on a 60-yard punt.
60 yards. Williams gets 6 yards on the return.
Dickie Harris is the man who Gizmo Williams has tied, the former Montreal Alouette, for punt return touchdowns in a season of 3, and the CFL record is 5 for kick return touchdowns, and Henry Gizmo Williams has 4.
And watching him, you have to think he's going to get awfully close to that record sometime.
Damon Allen with pressure, screens to Milson Jones, and he's grabbed at the 20, bounces off, doesn't get any more yardage, but gave it a heck of an effort. Ron Howell is the man who holds the CFL record of 5 kick returns in a season for a touchdown.
Looked like it was the screen was set up pretty well. Milson Jones just steps inside and waits for his lineman to move. But the pursuit of the Calgary defense. Jones takes a hit, great balance here, keeps his feet, then continues on as far as he can, and it wasn't very far.
Bounced off 3 and looked around and stepped into Kent Warnock, who is a large fellow at 6'7" and I don't know, 280, 275.
Strange, he's been waiting and waiting to get into the lineup. And last week he breaks a small bone in his hand in practice. But you know, it's just typical. But it healed, they put a cast on, and he said he's ready to go. He was a late cut of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're glad to have him back here in Calgary.
Milson Jones favoring his left arm, it appears, as he leaves the field. Edmonton, 2nd down, and 10 yards to go from their 20-yard line. Damon Allen, quick pass, complete up to the 30-yard line, close to a first down. That was Rick House on the receiving end. Yes, it was.
9 yards to pick.
Milson Jones' spot in the backfield will be taken by Chris Johnstone, number 83.
Rick House has come up just a little bit short of an Edmonton first down on that catch.
It's a good job getting down and protecting it, getting the hands underneath the ball, cradle it, and pull it in.
We just announced the attendance. That's what the applause is for. 33,822, if I heard it correctly, which is just short of the all-time record of 34,951. 3rd down and half a yard for the Eskimos. They're gambling at their 30 and a half. Damon Allen keeps. And we'll see where they spot the ball. He had to get across the 31-yard line, and the Stampeders and their fans don't seem to think he made it.
Well, Damon Allen's upset about the spot he's going to get, but that was a pretty good job by the defense. stopping that surge of the offensive line and making Damon Allen stand up, not allowing him to get too low and find a little an area to creep into.
They will measure. It appears as though the Stampeders have stopped the Eskimos. And they have. Calgary takes the ball over on downs, and you very seldom see teams stop, Neil, on third in less than a yard. It hardly ever happens.
Well, you're right. It hardly does happen with that yard between them, but just coming off the football. See, they're getting underneath. The Stampeders have got the offensive linemen standing up. They don't have any power when you're standing up. They push them back, and they're able to stop Allen.
The third turnover of the game for the Eskimos, the first one that they have lost on downs. And Calgary has a great chance to pad their 6-point lead. Rick Johnson is going to run with the ball. He'll get a couple of yards and pay for them down to the 29 of the Edmonton Eskimos. Defense is dominating in this second half. Calgary led 16-13 at halftime. Only 3 points scored. We have two in the second half. We have 2:22 left in the third quarter.
Rick Johnson doesn't see anything downfield. A good job by the secondary in coverage. And that little step there allowed James Zachary to turn around and help out Larry Ruck on the tackle.
Second down and 8. Stampeders. They're at the Edmonton 29-yard line. Johnson over the middle. Willis at the 5. He's down to the 2-yard line. Larry Willis with Ronnie Howard on him has the Stampeders on the verge of a touchdown.
You got a fired up group of offensive players here. Rick Johnson stands tall when he sets up in the pocket because he sees pressure coming, and he just zips that ball in. That's good coverage, but the ball was thrown perfectly.
And if Larry Kuharich says that Johnson isn't quite back to his full capability throwing the football, Neil, on that play, he didn't look like he's very far away. First and goal. Stampeders at the Edmonton 2. Gary Allen didn't get there, throwing back as he tried to dive in.
Now it's the Eskimos' chance to see if they can close the door on the Stampeders on this goal line stand. They played it tough the last time.
Oh, Allen didn't get anywhere near the goal line.
I think he's jumping prematurely. He's got to stay on the ground. He has no power once he leaves the ground. If he follows his blockers and looks for a gap, he has a better chance of getting in the end zone.
Second and goal. Stampeders from the 1. Petros, touchdown. No, pardon me. Gary Allen wound up with the football. I was out to lunch on that one. If Petros had had it, he would have had a touchdown.
Well, you're right. If Petros had the ball under his arm, that would have been 6 points. But they try to draw the defense in with that fake, but it doesn't work. That quick pitch, it's just like the old option football. They stretched out, and the aggressive Eskimo defense just closes in on Gary Allen, and they lose 3 or 4 yards. 6 yards.
Such a good fake by Johnson that he absolutely lost me on that one. And the Stampeders lost 6 yards. Back to the 7. So we'll see a J.T. Hay field goal try from the 14 with Harper holding. It's a fake. Glenn Harper wants to throw. He lofts it into the end zone, but there's nobody near the football. And the Stampeders will come away empty.
Well, Harper had no one to throw it to. The Eskimos have been studying the film. They know Harper can throw the football. J.T. Hayes out in front of him. He might have had a better chance if he had tucked the ball away and just tried to run to the corner. But you can see the Eskimos played it well, led by Wilson and Junior Robinson.
What proves to be the final play of the third quarter. Stampeders will take a 6-point lead into the 4th.
Both teams' defenses tighten it up in the third quarter of this one.
Bob Irving and Neil Lumsden at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The fourth quarter starts with the Eskimos 2nd and 10 from their 7-yard line. Damon Allen has Brian Kelly complete up at the 19-yard line for a first down for Edmonton. Brian Kelly's first catch of the football game.
12 yards.
Damon Allen really puts that ball in there. Kelly makes a good move and goes to the outside, but his good solid follow through, he has time and he puts some zip on it, and he's got to get it out there quickly because McCrary is closing on Kelly.
Nelson Jones has a bruised arm, and he should be able to come back in the game if he's needed. Eskimos from their 19 with a 1st and 10. Allen swings it out to Skinner. And he is popped. You can hear it way up from our vantage point in the broadcast booth at the 24-yard line, a gain of 5.
I like seeing that defensive backs that aren't shy just want to full speed blast and hit into that running back, make some good contact.
Now you're sure Petros didn't score that touchdown? I guess I can't get out of that. Okay. We're going to follow Trevor Bowles on this play, the right tackle of the Eskimos, then come back and show you what this rather large individual did. 2nd down and 5, Eskimos. Allen doesn't get it away, fumbles the ball, and Calgary got it, but they're rolling an incomplete pass. Ross Perrier, the head referee, is rolling incomplete pass, and Kent Warnock is not going to have his first fumble recovery in the CFL.
Well, the pocket closes down. The Stampeders are playing a little bit of a game with their front 4, and it confuses the Eskimos just for a second, and it happens to happen right on the right side. Trevor Bowles makes contact early and then passes off to the outside, moves in, but it's too late. He can't get his hand on Jeffers.
That'll make it 3rd down. 5 yards to go. Eskimos at their 24. Jerry Cowrick in the punt. Calgary with just 1 man back. Richie Hall will let it bounce, and the ball will go out of bounds around the 45-yard line of the Calgary Stampeders. We're a minute and a half into the 4th quarter at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. $33,842 at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. 13 minutes, 24 seconds left, 4th quarter, as Joe Farragelli gives Damon Allen instructions. The Eskimos looking at a 6-point deficit. And Calgary, after a Cowrick punt, 1st and 10 at their 43-yard line. Johnson to Petros. Good room across the 50 to the 52-yard line. Tim Petros runs for close to 10 yards.
When you've got defensive ends that rush wide all the time, sometimes you can find a seam, and that's what they do. Kerry Elarenko on the right-hand side just let Stuart Hill take himself out of the play. A good job of blocking by the 2 guards, and Bob Poley, the veteran center, they give him a gap.
Gain of 9 for Petros. 2nd down and 1. Stampeders at their 52. Gary Allen in motion. Johnson screens to Petros, and he's into Edmonton territory to the 50-yard line. 8-yard gain. Stampeder 1st down.
There's quite a number of Eskimo fans down at this game, and the ones in the gold sweatshirts are on the Eskimotion buses. 10 buses left Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton this morning. Those are the people that were on that bus. A total of 5,000 Eskimo fans, and tickets were sold for this game. Section O is Eskimo section today.
They're quite easily distinguishable, aren't they?
They do stand out, don't they?
If you're an Edmonton fan and you wanted to hide, you'd have a tough time looking like that.
Well, they're not trying to hide, I can promise you that.
1st and 10. Stampeders, Edmonton 50. Johnson over the middle, and it's no good. Down at the 24-yard line. Larry Willis had a shot at the ball with Stanley Blair in good coverage. There's some Ken Warnock fans.
I didn't know he had political aspirations.
Stampeders extend a warm
This is a long ball to throw, and Emmanuel Tolbert goes down. The man who's upset with himself is Junior Robinson. I'm sorry, it's Larry Willis, because Robinson felt he could have come underneath, helped out Blair, and maybe picked the pass off.
2nd down and 10. Stamps. Edmonton 50-yard line. Johnson, lots of time, throws a wobbler, and it's over the head of Willis at the 30 along the sidelines. Johnson disgusted with himself, I would presume, with the way he threw that ball.
Well, they're running a sprint out, and Rick Johnson is, I don't think, is as comfortable sprinting out with the ball, though he's done it very well, but he seems to be holding up. He doesn't come all the way to the outside and threaten the corner.
Kent Warnock, happy to be playing in a CFL game, never mind running for president. This is his first CFL regular season action. 3rd and 10. Stampeders at the Edmonton 50. Glenn Harper to punt. And Henry Williams to return. And he gets it back up to the 21-yard line. 11 minutes and 3 seconds left, and a good one on Labor Day at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. 11 minutes, 3 seconds left at McMahon Stadium. Stampeders lead the Eskimos by 6. Edmonton with the ball. 1st and 10 from the Eskimo 21-yard line. Damon Allen gets away from the first wave of rushers. Turns the corner and gets up to the 33-yard line. A gain of 12. That'll be an Eskimo 1st down. Bruce Green finally running him out of bounds.
I'm sure Larry Koharic is fully aware that this Eskimo offense can explode at any time, and it can happen with a run from the quarterback. Damon Allen, tremendous running ability, gets to the outside and outruns Bruce Green to the sidelines.
Gary Allen is having a good afternoon at McMahon Stadium. He's outdoing by 2-1 the entire Edmonton team in terms of rushing the ball. Eskimos from their 33 on 1st down. Allen with time. The ball is batted at the line of scrimmage. I believe Stu Laird got his hand up to knock it away. Danny Bass with the knee injury, not expected to return, a sprained knee. We won't see him today. Again, Stu Laird. Our cameras are going to focus on Laird on this play, and then we'll come back afterwards and show you how it worked out for Stu. 2nd and 10, Eskimos from their 33. Damon Allen quickly back to pass. Flags down. Allen throws long. Has a man all alone. Stephon Jones. And he's run out of bounds by Peterson down at the 25 of Calgary, but there is a penalty flag.
Offside. Calgary number 75. Decline. 1st down.
Stu Laird was offside. The play will stand.
Well, it's just like lightning. It can strike at any time, and with Stephon Jones and his speed, he can get open. You can see Damon Allen opening up his feet, ready to get out and sprint out as quickly as he can, and you just wonder, how can a guy get this open? And here's Stu Laird coming in a rush. He makes a nice quick move right here. Past Trevor Bowles, but helped out. Got some help from Leo Blanchard.
Laird off the ball too quickly. Either that or he lined up offside. The penalty was against him, and the 52-yard gain to Stephon Jones stands. Damon Allen throwing. Brian Kelly wide open to the 10-yard line. He stopped right there, but that's a 15-yard gain and another Edmonton 1st down.
A play that has been very successful for the Eskimos over the years. Brian Kelly split out wide. He delays off the line, then comes underneath Rick House. In that zone coverage, he finds that area. Damon Allen throws to a spot. He knows Kelly's going to be there.
Of course, Stephon Jones will be remembered. Who can forget the play on the last play of the game here last year, the season opener, the Eskimos scoring on a bomb to Stephon Jones to beat Calgary 21-20. Damon Allen over the middle. Brian Kelly can't get to the ball a couple of yards into the end zone.
Calgary's not going to sit back. They bring safety Greg Peterson from the right-hand side. But they like to go to Brian Kelly down in close. In motion along the line. He's going to set up his defensive back. A quick move to the inside to get good separation from McCrary. The ball wasn't there, though. Brian Kelly to the outside. Once again, this is a play they work on, and they work on a lot. The defensive back thinks he's going deep. He runs hard off the line of scrimmage and then stops. McCrary's thinking he's going long. Kelly just goes over the goal line and waits for the football.
Jerry Cowrick adds the convert, and the Edmonton Eskimos have taken the lead 20-19 with 8:47 left in the fourth quarter. A 6-play, 89-yard touchdown drive.
There's that explosion off the line of scrimmage. Just wait. McCrary's trying to guess. Do I watch the quarterback or do I watch Brian Kelly's eyes? Neither one's a bargain. Kelly gets over the goal line.
Well, it's taken the Edmonton Eskimos a long time to get ahead in this football game. They trailed 3-0, 10-0, 16-3. But now, with 8:47 left in the fourth quarter, they have gone in front, 20-19.
Well, some say when you're down close, Brian Kelly's money in the bank. He does so many things so well. He gets good separation from a defensive back. And there aren't too many people that have played the game of football can catch a ball like Brian Kelly.
That is the 92nd career touchdown for Brian Kelly. And it moves him past Dick Shadow and Tom Scott into second on the all-time CFL touchdown list. George Reed leads with 137. Kelly gonna have to play a few years to catch George Reed.
I think George Reed got the ball a fair bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he got it a lot down near the goal line. Cowrick kicking off. And McVeigh with it. Rookie Andy McVeigh, he's got some room. And he's across the 40 out to the 41-yard line. Good return by Andy McVeigh.
Purchase a ticket for only $100 for your chance of over $450,000.
Injured Calgary player on that return, Lamont Jeffers, I believe, shaken up.
Andy McVeigh, a product of the University of Toronto, has been a very pleasant surprise for the Calgary Stampeders this year. In preseason, he ran the ball very, very well. But Kaharick wants to get him in the game, but wants to wait for the right time.
Yeah, he told us, Neil Kaharick, that he doesn't like putting young players into difficult situations. He likes to get them in where there's no pressure on them. Damon Allen enjoying a good game. He's a young player who's been dealt with that way, I think, to a large extent. Been
yes.
Eased into the thing.
Yes, he has, with the help of Matt Dunnigan and the coaching staff. They have a young player that comes in and does a great job.
Stampeders with their fans loudly behind them. 1st and 10 from their 41. Here's a draw play. Gary Allen, and he was grabbed by Stu Hill. Allen will get a gain of 1 or 2. That's all.
Well, it certainly pays to watch an awful lot of film of the opposing team, as these guys do all week. And there are certain keys they will read. And Stuart Hill knows in certain formations, when there's only one back in the backfield, there's a good chance it's a draw. Well schooled, played the play awfully well.
2nd and 9. Stampeders at their 42. 7:45 left in the fourth quarter. Rick Johnson throws, has a man open, complete. 54-yard line of Edmonton. Larry Willis on the receiving end of a good throw by Rick Johnson.
It's so important when a receiver goes downfield to make the defensive back look like or think he's going somewhere else, and then change your mind. And what he does here is Willis pushes Howard downfield and then comes back to the football on the sidelines. Johnson knows that and throws to a spot.
Stampeders into Edmonton territory. 1st and 10 at the Eskimo 54, 20-19. Edmonton leading. Johnson fakes the draw. That gives him some time, and he has a man wide open, and the ball was dropped. Ron Wheeler, the tight end at the Edmonton 35, had nobody within 7 or 8 yards of him, and he just flat out dropped the ball.
Well, that little play action there, a fake draw, might have held somebody in the defensive backfield and allowed Wheeler to go through the middle untouched. And it almost looks like he was able to grasp that ball after he hit the ground. It bounced up, hit his feet, and back into his arms, but must have hit the turf.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. Edmonton 54. Johnson throws. Tolbert can't get it. 37-yard line. Good, close, tight coverage by Don Wilson on Emmanuel Tolbert.
You're right. He couldn't be any tighter if he'd been inside the uniform with him. Don Wilson plays him. Just snugs right up to him after he comes off the ball. The key here is closing. He's going to close on the ball when it's thrown. Keep him in front of you, read the quarterback, and then react.
Glenn Harper will have to punt the ball for the Stampeders on 3rd and 10 from the Edmonton 54. We saw Harper on a field goal try, throw the ball. He can throw reasonably well. I don't believe we'll see that here, though. And Harper gets a good punt away. Henry Williams at the Edmonton 4-yard line. And Williams is down at the 5. Kent Warnock leading the Calgary downfield tacklers to corral the gizmo. We have 6 minutes, 43 seconds left. Edmonton Eskimos 1st and 10 at their 6-yard line with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left. Eskimos ahead by 1 point. Damon Allen has moved slightly ahead of Rick Johnson in their quarterback comparison. And a 1st down handoff to Chris Skinner nets the Eskimos very little. And the 33,842 at McMahon roar their approval.
Well, the defense is closing in. That swarming style of defense that Koharek is looking for is the type of defense they're going to have to play right now.
2nd down for the Eskimos. About 8.5 yards to go from their 7.5-yard line. Damon Allen drops into his end zone. Lots of time. Allen's going to run. And he gets up to the 15-yard line. That'll leave him a 1.5 yards. Maybe a little more short of the 1st down. I think they're going to spot him down at the 14.5-yard line, which will leave him 2 full yards short. And that'll bring on the Edmonton punting team for sure.
Well, Vince Goldsmith rushes from the inside, which opens, I mean, it's wide open for Damon Allen. He might have been better to tuck the ball and just run right away, but holding the ball, making sure someone doesn't come open downfield, that's his first look and his first thought.
Good pursuit by Harold Hallman to come back and help Bernie Morrison out on the tackle and stop Allen short of the 1st down. Jerry Cowricks had a good day punting. Eskimos 3rd and a couple from their 14.5. Calgary with just 1 man back, Richie Hall. Pressure, but Cowrick gets it away, and it's a pretty good kick. Richie Hall at the 53 of Edmonton. And he's down to the 51-yard line of the Eskimos. Downfield coverage excellent. A 38-yard punt by Cowrick, and it was brought back 1 yard by Richie Hall. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. 4th quarter, Edmonton up by 1.
Pressure on Cowrick.
The Eskimo 51-yard line.
Trying to block the punt. Come down behind as he turns away. As he walked off the field, shaking that right leg a little bit.
Kickers are good actors on those plays. He got hit, but they always seem to embellish it a little bit. I don't blame them. 1st and 10. Stampeders at the Edmonton 51. The toss to Gary Allen. And Allen spinning his way down to the Edmonton 47 or 48 for a gain of 3 or 4.
Even with Danny Bass out of there at middle linebacker, they're going to try to run, and it's tough to run against the Eskimo defense.
A gain of 4 yards.
Well, you can always look back in the game, but a critical point as it stands right now is late in the 3rd quarter when the Stampeders were on the Edmonton 1, couldn't get it over, and then lost 5 yards and had a fake on the field goal and got nothing out of a great scoring opportunity. Rick Johnson fakes on 2nd down, gets the ball away, caught by Willis at the 35. Larry Willis comes up with some kind of effort for Calgary. He may score. Touchdown! What a play by Willis.
You talk about effort. The ball has to get there, and Rick Johnson does a good job. They try to run a bootleg, but he's got Dan Kearns right in his face. He throws a strike, but this is just tremendous move. Get away from the first tackler, and what a great move. Inside and back out.
Well, you know, the word great is overworked, but that was a great play by Larry Willis. J.T. Hay adds the convert, and Calgary has gone back in front 26-20 with 4 minutes and 11 seconds left in the game at McMahon Stadium.
It's one thing to break one tackle and turn it upfield and score, but this is good coverage. Ron Howard slips when he's trying to close in. He's got his leg. Now this is a good move here, but the pursuit of the Eskimos. One more move back inside on Thurman into the end zone.
Yeah, that was one of those plays where Johnson had pressure, had somebody in his face. All he could do was throw it and hope that the receiver would come back to the football. Willis doing exactly what a receiver should do in a situation like that.
Well, that's the communication you have to count on when you've worked together in practice with your receivers. You have to count on them being in certain spots when you run patterns. Rick Johnson knows when he lets that ball go, Willis is going to run us out, come back to the sidelines to catch the football.
Larry Willis having a big year for Calgary. Calgary came into this game with 39 catches for 656 yards. That was his 5th touchdown. And Joe Ferraghelli anxiously looking on as J.T. Hay kicks off. Stephon Jones on the run at his 30, and Hopkins grabs him at the 35 or 36. 5-yard return of a 45-yard kickoff.
Great hustle downfield. That Stampeder bench is hopping.
He has done that all day. He's kicked off short, Neil, and I think by design, so as not to give those kick returners a chance to get it deep and get some momentum going.
Well, not only is he kicking a little bit short, but he's kicking it in the corner or the side of the field, and that cuts away the field so they only have to go to one spot. It's easier on the cover team.
Damon Allen and the Eskimos at the Edmonton 37, 1st and 10. It's a screen to Skinner, and he's grabbed by Bruce Green for a loss of 3 or 4.
The Stamps must be disguising their defense because you want to run a screen and a draw, as I said earlier, against zone coverage. Your linebackers are going to drop back. You see Bernie Morris in the middle. Just step back and run back. But Bruce Green closes very quickly, reads it, and doesn't give the offensive line chance to get out in front of Skinner to throw a block.
Loss of 3. We call it 2nd down and 12. Eskimos at their 35. Vince Goldsmith chasing Allen, who throws complete to Rick House, but they say he's out of bounds when he came down with the ball. So it'll be an incomplete pass. Nice work by House to catch that ball. 3 minutes, 2 seconds left in the 4th quarter. On 3rd and 12, Cowrick, yet another outstanding punt. Gary Allen at the Calgary 25. And he's all the way back to the 45-yard line. 20-yard return of a 50-yard kick. 2:38 left at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Stampeders leading Edmonton 26-20.
We've seen signs of Gary Allen, what he showed us last year, returning punts, doing a great job of that and getting involved in the offense. As we look at middle linebacker Bernie Morrison limping off.
Stampeders trying to end a 9-game regular season losing streak at the hands of Edmonton. Eskimos have beaten them 5 times in a row at Commonwealth and 4 straight times here at McMahon Stadium. 1st and 10, Calgary. Stampeders 45. And Petros, and he can't break the tackle that he had to get outside. Frank Balkovec made the stop. Balkovec replacing the injured Danny Bass at middle linebacker.
Good job of Frank Balkovec reading the play and sliding laterally along the line of scrimmage. Keep the runner running back in front of you. That's what he does. And if Petros can break that tackle, he would have gone some way. Good play by Balkovec.
A 47-yard Rick Johnson to Larry Willis touchdown pass at 10:49 of the 4th quarter has Calgary in front 26-20. Stamp 2nd and 9. Johnson throws, no good, intended for Tolbert at center field, but he couldn't quite reach it. And with 2:15 left in the 4th quarter, Calgary's punting team will head onto the field.
Well, that ball was right on the money. Rick Johnson takes a 3-quarter drop, turns and throws to the sidelines. He had it there.
Johnson has looked today, Neil, to me like the quarterback that we watched last season have that outstanding year, be the All-Canadian, pass for over 4,000 yards and all the rest of it. He may not be all the way back, but he looks like his old self to a large extent.
What's that cockiness that he's got that helps him?
Harper punting on third down, gets an excellent kick away. Williams at the 4-yard line, same place he caught the last one. And this time he gets it back to the 10. The last time he only got out to the 6 or 7. A 60-yard punt in the clutch by Glenn Harper and a 7-yard run back by Henry Williams.
Not only is it a 60-yard punt, but it stays in the air long enough to give his cover team to get a chance to get down and surround him. You can't give the Gizmo Williams any opportunity to get to the outside. The Stampeders get down and almost form a fence around him, of course, giving the 5 yards. The first hit made by Darcy Kopp. That's the way to defend him.
Both punters, Jerry Cowrick and Glenn Harper, have had terrific days. The Eskimos facing a 6-point deficit, start from their 10-yard line. 1st and 10. Damon Allen for Rick House over his head at the 19. House would have been out of bounds even if he had a ladder and was able to go up and get that ball. Big crowd at McMahon, 33,842. About 1,000 short of an all-time record. Exhorting their defense on as the Eskimos are 2nd and 10 from the 10. Damon Allen with pressure. And Allen is sacked at the 4-yard line. Eugene Beliveau is the man who touched them down for a 6-yard loss.
The Stamps are bringing some pressure. When Damon Allen sets up, he seems to jump just for a second once he plants his feet, and I think he sees Lamont Jeffers right there. He sees Jeffers, but Jeffers was picked up by the running back. Now he starts to go to the sidelines. He's trying to buy himself some time. No one comes over, and that's a pretty aggressive way to tackle somebody going after the head.
That would be considered close to rough play, I would guess.
And he didn't have to do it. That's the thing.
But the Stampeders are pumped up sky high. 3rd down. Cowrick kicking from his end zone. And he gets a good boot away under pressure. Allen at the 43 of Edmonton, and that's exactly where he'll go down with 1:31 left. A 38-yard punt. I say a good kick by Cowrick. It was a high kick that stayed up a long time and was well done given the situation and the pressure. Friends of yours, Neil? There are some interesting looking people in this crowd at McMahon Stadium, and a lot of happy people. But there is still some time left, 1:31, and that can be an awful lot of time. Just ask the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bombers getting 2 touchdowns yesterday in the last 90 seconds to beat Saskatchewan Taylor Field. Stampeders with a chance now to put it away from the 43 of Edmonton. Petros carrying on 1st down. Petros has a 12-yard run.
Refusing to go down on contact. Tim Petros hits up in there. He's got a good running style. Those shoulder pads are down. He says, no way, I'm just going to keep going. He gets that body lean. That's tough to go. That's just tough running.
1st and 10, Stampeders, Edmonton 31. Petros again breaks a tackle. Across the 30 to the 29 of the Eskimos for a gain of a couple. Most important, he'll keep the clock going unless the Eskimos choose to use their timeout.
Well, a man who was primarily used as a blocker at the fullback spot of the Stampeders has turned into a blocker runner. When you've got 2 running backs that can carry the mail, it certainly helps your offense because all of a sudden you've got another threat and you can't just key on one running back as a defense.
Rick Johnson will work that clock. 2nd down and 8. The Edmonton 29. Johnson wants to throw. He's being chased by Stu Hill. Gets the ball away, and it's almost picked off down at the 17-yard line. Larry Kuharek says, what in the heck was that?
Oh, I'm sure he's saying, what was that? Johnson had everything under control. He sprints out. He's being chased by Stuart Hill. And then he throws the ball and doesn't quite have enough on it to get it to the receiver. Stanley Blair gets a chance to pick it off. Almost. It was too close for Kuharek.
Stops the clock. It won't start until the ball is snapped. But if J.T. Hay can hit this field goal, Calgary will expand its lead to 9 points, 29-20. And that would pretty well do it with 37 seconds left. It'll be a 36.5-yard effort by Hay. And it's good.
J.T. Hay, one of the classiest players in the CFL, receives congratulations from the rest of his football team after making this field goal. Some of the names on the back of the jerseys might be the same, but the feeling isn't.
We've seen some wild and woolly comebacks in the CFL this season, Neil, but I don't think the Eskimos can come back from 9 points down with 34 seconds left. Do you?
I'm not going to say.
Damon Allen dumps it off to Skinner, who will have a gain of 6 yards up to the Edmonton 41. The clock down to 27 seconds. Calgary in front, 29-20.
Skinner trying to get that shoulder pad done up so he doesn't have to come off the field.
Allen barking instructions as the clock works down to 20 seconds. Allen finds Brian Kelly at the 53 of Calgary. 13 seconds left on the clock.
16 yards and an Eskimo first down.
Well, you can bet after what happened to the Stampeders last year at opening day with that Hail Mary pass, there'll be a few defensive backs standing around their 5-yard line very soon.
Larry Kuharek about to go to 2-0 as Calgary's head coach. Stampeders about to win their 3rd game in a row and up their record to 4-6. And I think we would have to draw the conclusion.
Illegal procedure, Edmonton number 9.
That the Stampeders, after that horrible start, are back as a factor in the West.
I don't think there's any question about that. What they've shown us the last few games.
Rob Smith congratulating Larry Kuharek. McVeigh, Bob Poley. And a lot of the defensive players are waving their arms to the fans.
They're having some fun.
Not only are the Stampeders back, but football has returned to life in Calgary, whereas a few weeks ago it looked like it was in trouble again. And Damon Allen is down for a loss on the final play of the game, perhaps a fitting way for it to end. And you get an indication of how excited the Stampeders are over this victory by their reaction there, carrying Larry Kuharek onto the field.